All right, guys, this started to be a regular in-class lecture for Thursday or for Wednesday, but then I realized I thought so many of you depend upon this as your notes and go back and refer to this a lot. Plus, the thing I like about this is that if somebody is sick or not there or have to, get whisked away for another test or something, they don't miss the lecture by this being posted. So you all will be watching this in class on Wednesday, and there won't be a question with this. The whole score will be just watching this video. All right, this is classes part 3 or 4, probably 4 by now. All right, I've got a class here, and now I'm calling it rectangle. First, you notice at the top, nothing special. I was trained using namespace. You don't need any special header files for this. Class rectangle. So this means you can make a bunch of objects using class rectangle. Right? The new thing about this that you're going to see is this has private members. I've got double width and double length that are private. Private means, right, and this is a future test questions or something. This cannot be manipulated. These two things cannot be manipulated in main. The only thing that can access these two private variables are these public functions. When you make them private, the only thing that can access them is the public functions. If you got any questions on that, you're watching this video in class, please ask me about it. So we got double width and length. If you're dealing with a rectangle, so you're going to be dealing with length and width. All right. Here are my functions. I've got set width, set length, get width, get length, and get area. Those are my functions. So there's my class. The functions, there's my semicolon outside of my class brackets, right? The functions will sit right below it. I'm putting all these on the same page, but and I don't know if we'll do it this semester. Really, in a program, class sets in a separate not file, but sets on a whole different page. You'd have source.cpp and you'd have a class file, but we're just going to leave them all on the same page for this purpose. All right, so there you go. There's your rectangle. Let's look at the functions because it's got a different way of calling them. All right, void rectangle, because this is part of the rectangle class. You got colon, colon, and then all of this looks the same when you're talking about a function. All right, set width, we're going to send it a double, and it's going to be called W. Then inside W, it's going to assign it to width, which we know is private. So nothing real fancy there, right? It's a void function, so we don't return anything. Set length is almost identical. You got your rectangle, you got your class. That'll always be your class, and you got your two colons. And what did I do? Okay, that was weird. All right, set length, and then we're going to send it a double, and then we're going to call it length as we send it in. Then it's going to assign it to length. Again, length is one of your private variables. All right. The next one is get width. All right. We send it no parameters. You call get width. All right. And it returns width. It returns the width, which is a private variable inside of your object. So whatever your object is, and this one is rectangle, it's going to send back the width in the rectangle. It's going to send back the width in the rectangle object, whatever you called your rectangle object. Remember, you're going to name this rectangle something. All right. So there we return the width. We return the width, which is a double. Same thing with get length. Right. This function goes in and okay. This function get width will go in and it'll return the width, because here you can tell there's a double out in front here. It returns a double. Same thing with get length. Get area is pretty simple. You call it, and something else I forgot to mention. On this, it's best to make it a constant. Okay, can't give you. I mean, I just know this is a good practice. I don't know why. I mean, this function will work fine without it, but I've always been told that this is a good practice. Again, not sure why, but you want to use constant there. You might want to try it both ways and see what you think. If things start to go bad, maybe you can figure it out, because I've never figured out why this needs to be a const, but I always put it there. All right, but this is get area. All right, it multiplies the width and length, which are private variables, then returns them multiplied as a double. Super simple. Simple functions, but you just got to learn how to write them. Take note of this. Take note that the first thing is for like this one, you're returning a double. Rectangle is the class. Get area is the function. Const is something you put there. All right. And then you return the two private variables multiplied as a double. Okay. All right, let's take a look at now inside of main. All right, in main, I'm going to make a rectangle and I'm going to call it box because I lack originality. I can't think of anything else to call it for this program. Rectangle, and I'm going to make a class, an object of a rectangle, and I'm going to call it box. I can make all kinds of rectangles. I can make a rectangle and call it a square. I can make a rectangle and call it Bob. I can make a rectangle and call it building. I can do anything. I can make as many rectangles as I want. And they're all different objects. I'm going to call a regular variable a regular double. I'm going to call it rectangle width or rect width and a double rect length. All right. The scope of these is just going to be here in main. All right. They're going to be used here in main. So let's go through this. It's not that complicated. All right. This program will calculate the area of a rectangle, what is the width? Then I'm going to cin rectangle width, which just is a regular variable inside of main, something you've been doing all along. What is the length? Rectangle length. Okay, so up to here, this here is something y'all did since September of last year. Rectangle box is new, something y'all haven't done before, but you've seen over the last 3 videos. I'm making a class rectangle and I'm calling it box. All right, now let's get down to the functions. There's not a lot of code after this. The rest of the code is from here to here. All right. Box dot set width. All right. That's one of the functions up there. Box is our class. We're going to call set width. If we would have called this square, if we would have made another instance, we could have called square dot set width. If we would have made the thing I said building, made a building out of the rectangle, okay, the class rectangle, it would have been building dot set width. So we're going to send rect width, all right, which is just a regular variable, to set width. All right, I'm going to scroll up now and we're going to look and see what happens. Okay, I send the double to it. All right, we call it length. Length assigns it to the word length, which is the variable, the private variable inside of the class. The next thing is the same thing with set length. We send rect length. Let's just go ahead and look at it. Set width and set length, they're both here. We're going to send a double to set width. It's called W. It's going to assign it to width. All right. So all this does is set width and set length. Make sure I'm saying this right. Yep, set width and set length. All it is doing is calling set width and set length, these two functions, and setting the private variables inside of here. All right, let's scroll on down. Hope I'm not making you too dizzy with this. We're down to the end of it. Okay. See out. Here's the rectangle's data, the width. Okay. We're gonna do get width, which just is the function above this that returns. It's a void. Watch. I'll go back up again. Dizzying, I know. Okay. Get width. All right. It's just going to return the width. It's going to return the private variable width. Get length is going to return the private variable um, length. So you got set width, set length above this, which sets them. Then when you want to use them inside of main, you call get width. All right. And the final one is box.getArea. This is, okay, get width is going to get the width. Length is going to get the length, box.getLength. Then box.getArea, we're going to go back up one more time. All right. It's just going to return the private variables, width times length. It returns them as a double. And this whole block here just sees them out. All right. Take a good look at this. Your program that I'm going to assign as soon as you're done watching this video is very similar to this. For the first one, I'm not going to go abstract on you and make you do a lot of deep thinking. It's good. This is going to be pretty, I don't know. It should be pretty procedural feeling to you. But this is your first object-oriented program because you're going to be making objects and dealing with them. So give this program a good look. Take some good notes for your test because it's really hard to watch videos during a test.